for work. Howdy folks, Mark with MD Custom Fly Rods here, and yep, it was one of those mornings. So just doing some wrapping today. I will go ahead and get everything set up. It's a little bit on the odd side, doing metallic on metallic again. The metallic is a normal really fine thread with a kind of almost like a foil type wrapping around it. The metallic wrapping is not as strong as the inner thread, so yeah, we have to be a little bit more delicate with it. But once we get the epoxy on there and get everything set, we should be pretty good. So I will get everything up and going here. So stand by as I get the camera set up. Okay, folks, what do I got? Now, if you've been watching any sort of fly rod building or any sort of rod building, this is really nothing new. And just kind of one of the reasons I just was even going into some of this is just one, because it is going metallic on metallic. Two, just some of the challenges you will have with it, being that on fly rods you will have a little bit more of a challenge because of using some of the finer threads as opposed to some like the offshore rods. Seems to be a little bit more it's easier and a little bit tougher. The seems to be a little bit easier to work with because you can get in there a little bit to tighten things up a little bit easier, but then also at the same time on smaller delicate stuff is much more easily, problems are much more easily seen. So especially on a metallic like you can see on this. But then the other thing I wanted to show on this is this setup here is getting ready to go away. And I wanted to, it's not completely going away, but I wanted to show, because this is a home-built setup that I have been using for a while. And I've got anybody who's seen some of my other stuff, I do have a power wrapper that I use, but I will be using and going with where I'm going to be setting up and going with a really cheap build coming up here shortly. It's not what I'm looking for. And I just want people to see that you do not have to go super expensive on your wrapping, on setting wrapping up. And you can go more than one rod, maybe building something as simple as, it's an L bracket, some springs, bolts, another spring, can get you set up and going pretty easily. And then so you can do things semi-professionally, really nicely, and make it look like you know what you're doing, like I'm trying to do here. And then but that you don't have to spend a lot of money doing it. And when I do the cheap rod build, because that way the intent on that will also be, and I'll also cover it again then, is to build it as cheap as possible so somebody can actually build a fly rod and use it and try to get out for less than $100 and end up having a rod worth a couple $100. And actually my goal on that is to spend less than 50 and have a couple $100 rod. So that is my intent. But as it is, so I'm going to do this one wrapping here, and I do not like that. So let me back this off a little bit here. It is always easier to go back and fix your mistakes as you see them. Ramping right there. Right up onto the guide. Work it with my thumb a little bit there. There we go. Now this metallic on metallic does seem to show a lot of mistakes. So I will say that. That being said, a lot of these mistakes, or a lot of what you see on the bleed through here, will all dissipate once we go with the epoxy. The epoxy will highlight the upper colors. And so let me get these trim bands. So keep track of your wrap counts. So make sure it keeps everything even. 3, 4, and then 5. 5 wraps. I'm going to run this. I'm going to run 2 and then pack everything. There. And back there. And then everything's lining up. Okay. 5, 6, 7. Oops. This tight. And here, I'm not going to worry about it as tight going forward because this is going to be our pull point. There we go. Okay, and then through. There we go. And we're leaving that little bit of space in there. That way we get a nice trim. That way we can pack it down. And there we go. But the equipment, pretty easy to set up on your own if you wish to go that route. So, any questions? So, that being said, The equipment's easy to do. You can easily get it set up on your own. And as I said, I will be going through and setting up a build to go ahead and set up the cheapest rod that is kind of reliable, and it should be less than $50 to get your build equipment, rod, and I'm also going to try to make sure that the reel is in there as well. The only thing that's kind of questionable is going to be your line, which is line is kind of almost like the, other than the rod, the heart and soul of the your fly line, of your fly casting. Yeah, you need to have a good fly line. It is very important. So that being said, make sure you like and subscribe. Hit your notification. Take friends and family fishing, and I will see you on the next one. Have a great day.